Hello, everybody, and welcome to Anyhow, Anyway by Summer England. I'm your podcast host, Summer England, and nobody can thwart my good attitude today, I swear to God. Because one, it's autumn, and let me just tell you something right now. Is that where I live, sometimes August into September is actually really hot, and all that you want to do is curl up into a tiny ball, and you feel like Flotsam and Jetsam from The Little Mermaid, and you feel worthless and pitiless because why will the summer not end? And I realize that I was born on the last day of summer and my name is Summer, but why do I have to act like that sometimes? Why do I have to be like that? But it's not been this way. We're in the 70s, baby. We're waking up. It's 48 degrees outside. I have broken into my little attic closet where I keep my sweaters. I've pulled those puppies out. I've not even put them in the wash yet. They're pre-washed, mind you, before they go into there. But it still smells a little bit like 100-year-old farm wood. And we're rocking and rolling, okay? I'm donning my little sweater. I'm putting on my little scarf. I'm taking my little kid to school. Ugh, this season is elite. Elite, I tell you. What's more is that I had a huge parenting win this week, and then I put on a chaos scarf, meaning I knit scarves until the yarn runs out, and then I just add more and more different types of yarn, and then I crochet the edges and everything all together so that they're sort of the same length because they're going to grid differently or block differently because they're different worsted weights. Anyhow, anyway, my kid looked at my scarf and he said, "Can you make me one of those?" And I said, "Oh, baby, you just sleeper celled me, honey. Yeah, I will make you one of those. Nope, can't help you with science. Nope, can't help you with math. Nope, if you make up rules to a game outside that you're trying to play over and over again, I'm stepping out. I think it's boring. I'll read while you do it, and I will give you emotional support and make you laugh. But I will definitely knit you a chaos scarf. Absolutely, I will." So what can I say? It's soup season, and my favorite toxic trait that I have is that I make soups every year, and I roast the veggies, I do the whole thing. I go in there, the muse descends upon me, and they're so delicious. Did I write a single thing I did down? No. Do I try to recreate it? It's not even close to what I did before. Yeah. And I think there's, hell, I'm going to romanticize that. Because there's something real special about knowing you've just done something magical once, okay? Life in the mundane. This soup is never going to taste this good again. The next time I try to recreate this perfect present moment, it really makes me be in the present, okay? I'm not going to scroll on my little TikTok while I'm eating this bowl of soup that's only going to happen once because I don't write anything down. I refuse to write something down because it stresses me out to follow a list of things. I don't know what to tell you, which is very antithetical to how I am because for the most part, I'm organized and my work ethic is crazy and I'm a Virgo, Capricorn, which is a question a bunch of people have had of like, what's my full chart? I don't know what any of it means. I do know I'm a Virgo, Capricorn, and I have 5 placements in Capricorn, baby. I'm a stellium. That's what they say. I only have earth and fire in my chart anyhow, anyway. I don't like lists all the time, especially recipes, because the likelihood of me messing something up on measurements is huge because I have this funny little thing called dyscalculia where numbers swap in my brain and sometimes spatially placed things will swap. And so I used to think I was just kind of on another level of dumb when I was in math class because I was getting really fundamentals incorrect. And I would read it again and I was like, but I could have sworn that was a 2, but it was actually a 7. And how did I miss that? And when I was a barista and I had to count change, oh my golly gosh. I was terrified. I was terrified at the end of the day because I was like, I'm going to get arrested. Or I'm going to get this small business. They're going to be missing 47 cents into a small business. That's a light bulb, or I don't know how much beans cost wholesale. I'm going to put them under. And it's just because I had dyscalculia all along, which is comorbid with like ADHD and autism. Because you know what? I'm not necessarily a collector of things. I am a collector of mental illnesses and food allergies. I'm like a really special receptacle for like bum unit brain body, but I have a good attitude about it. All that to say, all that to say is that I never list down my soup recipes, and now is the season for my recipe-less soups that are going to taste great once, and it's going to make me be so in the moment, and then it'll be gone for the rest of ever. I do that every Thanksgiving too. I've hosted Thanksgivings 4 years in a row now, and I make everything, and I just sort of have the vibe. I've written down some things, but it's more just an ode to what I think that I did, because I certainly don't note it down in the moment. So there's a lot of stuff that I could probably and am probably forgetting. Now, every year at Thanksgiving so far, it's turned out great. Stuffing, yummy. Iterations of casseroles, yummy. Mac and cheese, yummy. Turkey and chickens, yummy. But how much can you mess up when you're like in the flavor profile of rosemary, sage, butter? How much can you really mess up is my question. Cinnamon and then pumpkins. I mean, what? I'm not working with a extremely diverse flavor profile, you know? The thing that has actually put me in a good mood, though, is that I just had a great meeting with my editing team, rather. I feel free. I feel let loose. I feel elated, excited. Writing is so much fun. It brings me so much joy. And I was working on a project that I thought was going to have to be my next project. Had this meeting with them. Turns out they want this other thing. And this other thing was way more exciting to me anyway. Which is exactly what happened when I wrote my cozy fantasy, The Impossible Garden of Clara Thorne. Hello, you can pre-order it in the UK and the US and also in Canada. Follow the link in my bio, etc., etc. Anyhow, that happened with that first book because I was doing National Novel Writing Month back in the end of 2023, and I was finishing up my memoir of the rom-com The Neighbor series, which, haha, would be hilarious if that came out and he and I are broken up. It's like if at the end of Eat, Pray, Love, she was like, and we didn't even make it through the publishing process of this. I'm happy though. Okay. So while I was writing that memoir, I was so fucking bored because I didn't want to be writing about myself necessarily. That's how I got my agent though. And that's what a lot of acquisition editors were interested in, was me putting the story on paper. Well, I didn't want to write about myself. Blah, blah. And so to distract myself during National Novel Writing Month, which has been that platform's like completely liquidated now because of their weird chat room scandals. So anyhow, I started distracting myself with this little cozy fantasy that had been pressing in on my brain. And so I just was noodling around with it. And that ended up being the debut novel that is going to, and has already changed my life, comes out April 7th. And as I was writing the next novel, because I was acquired for 2, which is in the publisher marketplace announcement. So I'm not doling out information that's not already out there. I was acquired for 2 books, and I thought book 2 had to be of a certain thing. Turns out this meeting today, it doesn't. I can write whatever. I feel free. And the thing is that last night I stressed myself out really bad, thinking I was going to be a failure. I set this up to be this whole big thing, and it wasn't. And now I feel like I'm in the best mood ever. It's like after you are nauseous and you vomit, and then you've never felt more healthy than that moment after you vom, and you're like, oh my God, this is what health feels like. I am never taking this for granted again. I've never felt better. The likelihood, if I ever ran a marathon, it would be because one was happening outside my window right after I threw up and finally felt better. Okay, well, I can run that. I just had to suffer through hours and hours of nausea, threw up, and now I feel fine. I can do anything. Let me join. Okay? Let me join that race. I think I'll be pretty okay, stamina wise. Any type of physique or shoes or outer garments that you're supposed to wear for a marathon won't have those, but I will have a good attitude. And honestly, I'm just a personality higher in most aspects of my life. I'm not sure if I'm talented. I just think that for whatever reason, people want to listen to me gib gab, and that's all I can really offer people. So So where I was going with that, I'm not entirely sure, but that's why this podcast is called Anyhow Anyway, because we just segue into the next thing, you know? Okay, so here's the conversation topically that we need to have today is that I was talking to somebody last night, perhaps the reason why I'm not single anymore. We're talking about what's your favorite month? What's the horniest month? What's the month where you're like, okay, even if I'm not with somebody, these are the months I'm most tempted to download a dating app. I've never had a dating app in my life. Never will I ever. I can't get over that it feels like human shopping. And if somebody swiped the wrong way on me, I would be so offended because why didn't you just say you're not handsome enough to tempt me? Why didn't you come in here with your mutton chops while I was sitting behind the staircase with my plain friend, sorry, but canonically, and you say, she's not handsome enough to tempt me? You can say that to me. I mean, I'm not getting over it. I would never have married Mr. Darcy. I would have never gotten over that. But it still stands. What do you mean you just swiped on me? You don't know me. You don't know me. At least swipe once you find out that I can't eat anywhere. We can't go on a date to anything. I don't like horror movies, so this time of year we can't cuddle close and watch those new ones. I'll watch some old ones. But this new stuff with all this body horror, no, I don't wanna. I'm the least fun on paper date, but wait till you know that. What do you mean? You're just human shopping for me. But there are certain months out of the year where I'm like, now, if I were single, I would, I guess, Google how to download the dating app or put it in my app store. I never have, but the temptation is there because September and October, come on, we should be banging every day. Okay, guys, let's be honest. The trees look like syrup and fire outside. Shouldn't I feel that way on the inside? Let's be real. I want to read my smutty books. I want to cozy up in more, because I think what's sexy about this time of year is that everyone's so layered up. What's underneath? Not in a creep way, but like a buried treasure way. And maybe I want somebody to slowly unbutton my thrifted sweater that the button, it's so old the buttons are wood. Like George Washington's repurposed dentures are on my sweater that I am actively wearing right now. Maybe I just want to get those slowly unbuttoned. September and October, they're for the sleuts. They're for the sleuts and the hoes. It's for us. It's for us skankies. You know what I mean? We need to get that word back in. Is that a hot take? Because sometimes my friends call me skank and I'm like, that's so funny. It's so funny to say that. I like it. It's like spank. I think it sounds fun on the mouth. Normalize it. Let's bring it back. Come on. Make a believer out of me. Hocus Pocus, anybody? I used to be obsessed with saying that. That was Max's big thing in Hocus Pocus. Come on, make a believer out of me. Oh, okay. And September and October, I'm looking at those dating apps. Well, metaphorically, I'm not. But it's just these months. These months have something with them. And then January and February, but for different reasons. It's because January and February, I just have to survive them, and I'll do anything, even if it's bad for me, microdose whatever, to get me on the other side of it. It's not as much, oh, come unbutton my wooden, threadbare sweater from who knows how long ago. It's like, can you please just make sure I see the spring? I don't have enough meat on my bones to survive the winter. I don't. This is, honestly, right now, this is for survival. I barely survive every winter. I always catch a really terrible cold that lasts forever because once again, revisiting why I am the worst date on paper. My immune system's shot. I'm done for, okay? But give me a chance. Okay? Don't say just say I'm not handsome enough to tempt you. Okay? Without anything else. Anyhow, that's on that. So that's why I'm in a really good mood. It's just this time of year is special. It's Virgo season. A bunch of people I love, their birthdays are coming up, and oh my gosh, it's just so exciting. There's apples and pumpkins, and I've been eating like 4 apples a day lately. And I think it's because when I am writing, I get really hungry around like the hour and a half mark. And sometimes it's because I've been on my walking treadmill for who knows how long. I'll look down and I've logged like 20,000 steps and I get munchy, but I don't want to sit down for a meal because once I sit down for a meal, my brain is like, girl, I don't know if I can get back to that writing desk. You kind of maxed out. And I'm like, but wait. I was just on a creative flow. And so I've been like getting an apple and then coming back and writing. I have been having so many apples. My fiber intake is through the roof. I don't know how many apples are too many apples. I feel like whoever discovered that, I'm right on their tail. But I've just been obsessed with it. Oh my God. And another writing snack, because of course we always talk about writing on this podcast. Another writing snack I've been obsessed with this week is that I've been chopping up apples really, really tiny. And then I'm chopping up nectarines because they were on sale at Aldi's. And I had an old can, not old, I mean, it's just a can that I had in my cabinet of coconut milk, canned coconut milk. I shook that puppy up. I drizzled that on top like a cream, did it with honey and cinnamon. And I don't know, again, it tastes fall. I put warming spices on it and I'll come and eat just my fruit soup slurry while I write about my two Shakespeare professors vying for the same tenure track position. And I'm 50,000 words into that, folks. Okay. We're jumping the gun a little bit. We're jumping the gun because that's when I always talk about in the segment of what I'm reading, writing, listening to. So let's not go there yet. And let's talk about my top 5 fall reads. Okay. Now I've alluded to this in the past and we're going to talk about it more in depth today because I just finished a new fall read that is going to be permanently on my autumnal recommendations. Now, I have curated this list of recommendations for the last 3 or 4 years. I've done a lot of rereads. I've done a lot of trying to swap out places or books with the slots just to make sure that I keep things new and I'm adapting and it's not just, oh, I like this book because there's a nostalgia element for me personally. No, these books are vetted, okay? These books are excellent. They withstand the taste of time. The test of time. And so we're going to dive into these. If you are looking to add for your TBR for the fall, I have read every single one of these, okay? Some of them I've not only read, I've also listened to them in audiobook form. So we have multiple different variations of ingesting this material, okay? And before we get into it, if you are a podcast listener and you say, audiobooks aren't really reading, you can get off this call right now. And you need to go find an attitude, a better one, and stop being ableist. And honestly, just stop being a jerk. Have a better take. What are you talking about, okay? So, first up, these are in no particular order. These are just kind of order as in preference, or this is my number 1 read and this is my bottom 5 read. It is more like the genre, the type, the subsets. Okay, you'll see. So, first up, these are the top 3 of the top 5. These are all atmospheric, kind of spooky, horror adjacent situation. It goes through 3, 1 being, I would say, the most horror-like, and then the third one isn't as much, but it still has those elements. Slewfoot by Brom. Number 1, atmospheric, horror adjacent, bleak, but hopeful, cozy in how dark it is. Cozy if you like The Village by M. Night Shyamalan. Cozy if you like The Vitch. I don't know who that's by. And Brom also does his own illustrations. I have his the newer book that he just wrote. I think it's The Evil in Me is what it's called. I'm so excited. His writing is great. I think anything by him during this season is just really, really good because the writing is very lyrical and has this essence of discovery and murkiness and walking through a dark forest and kind of immersive envelopment into the narrative. And the characters are so fleshed out and they are always subverting your expectations for them, which makes it, especially in Slewfoot, both uncanny and exciting, because I think something that comforts me when I'm reading anything in the horror genre, or if I'm watching a movie, is that my conclusions of how the plotline is going to go helps me be less scared. But because there are twists and turns and complete subversions that aren't out of nowhere, they're really good. You just are on your toes, you're a little bit on edge the entire time. It's not a thriller though, okay? So it follows Abatha, and we meet her, she's in 1666, colonial America. We're in we're anti-witch town, and it's very centered around kind of the permeating horrors that is people misusing God and authority, and what happens to women accused of such things. But there are magical realism and folklore elements that come into play in a really amazing way. Please read the content. I mean, it's not necessarily cozy hopeful or anything like that. Like, there is violence against women in this, but there's also witchy female rage in a way that I think is really well done and cathartic. Highly, highly, highly recommend. I got the hardback in it. I've listened to the audiobook. It is fantastic. Okay? The second one in this, again, these don't mean it's not, I like it less. I love all of these equally for different reasons. But this is still in sort of the horror adjacent. We have Thistlefoot by Jenna Rose Nethercott, which is based in Baba Yaga and folklore. It is a beautiful story that follows two siblings. It features theater. It's another iteration of magical realism and really dealing with ancestral trauma and how that manifests in this world. And again, it like Slewfoot, it's this weaving of very tangible moments in history / for Thistlefoot, for example, history and modern day. And then you have these amplifications of the story accented with folklore. And I think what's special about both of these books is that sometimes when there is the essence of very tangible reality and then we have magic, the magic can often overshadow or make lesser the viscerality that comes with, well, this could be me. Whereas these two books balance it so well that you can easily believe, like, this is how magic must work and we just don't know about it. And I love those types of books. And the following the siblings, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's got a little bit of queerness sprinkled in there as well. And another cozy read, very emotional, okay? Both of these books, they're cozy in the sense that if you like darkness, yes, but please take care of yourself, okay? And please read up on a book, okay? Okay, great. All right. The third one, which is one I just finished, and it's a really popular book. I hadn't heard of it until it came up on my Audible recommended, and I don't know how I hadn't heard of it yet because it's a really popular book. It is Wayward by Amelia Hart, and it follows a story of these three women and how they are connected, this generation of women, and their stories and their links to nature. And they're kind of like wild women, but how society tries to suppress, oppress, and use that. Fantastic. I listened to it on Audible, and the narrator did such a fantastic job. There's 3 different narrators differentiating these women. And I think, again, this is a book that does magical realism mixed with our current day society extremely well, and in a way that I have questions, and it's okay that I don't have a lot of answers to them, because the way that the world is set up, there are some bits of magic that I think are okay for it to work the way that it works. And whether that is because it is passed down to a line or somebody was touched generations back and we don't have that, that's fine because the world building is so great. I understand how it works within them. And another intense book, intense, beautiful stories. By the end of it, I was honestly surprised how attached and moved I was by these characters. And There's a lot about motherhood. There's a lot about child loss. There's just a lot about bodily autonomy and what it means to be carrying, generations on. Another book to read content things about. Let me just caveat this, okay? If you see a book recommendation online and you just read the content notifications, okay? Because sometimes I see, and I think this is unnecessary, I'll see like a book talker or whatever apologizing because they recommended a book and they didn't put the content notifications of the book before they recommended it. I mean, I don't think you necessarily have to do that. I think it's up to the reader. No one knows what could be a content issue for somebody. They just don't. And you gotta take care of yourself and all of that. So if I don't caveat things all the time, that's why, because you're the reader. You gotta do it. I do it. I have to do it. There's some content that I am not going to ingest, and I will make sure that if it's really important to me to know that beforehand, then I will do the content research. Anyhow, it's fantastic. Wayward by Amelia Hart is absolutely beautiful. These three are, again, all in this sort of essence of horror, witchiness, otherworldly, magical realism. There's bleakness, but in a way, again, that I think that the story contains really well without it being despondent or hopeless. And every single one of them has a very satisfying ending to me as the reader. I think some stories don't need to end extremely on a high note given the context of the story. I think actually sometimes that can be a disservice to the experiences that the characters have had. For all of a sudden it's like, and now you get a new chapter and all this is behind you now. And I think that these books do all of it really, really well. I am just foaming at the mouth to read anything else by Jenna Rose Nethercott that's something in this world, because I got her short stories, 50 Beasts and How They Break Your Heart. I might be butchering that title a little bit, but everything that she writes is fantastic. I highly recommend her. She has a backlog of books, and a lot of them are short stories. She is a fantastic writer. Go follow her on social media. She is Halloween embodied. All of these other writers are also great. Now we're going into decidedly cozy. We're exiting out of the horror genre and going into something of like, if you want a sweet autumnal fall read that features love and preciousness, these two are for you. The first is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. I got this as an advanced reader's copy, and it was a moment where my life as a debut author and a career author really codified into existence, because Sangu Mandana, she wrote The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. She has another backlog of books that are really great and some good middle grade as well. And I have always admired her so much and her writing so much. So when I was asked if I was interested in receiving an advanced reader's copy, I was shaking. I was quavering in my little boots. I was pissing, shitting, throwing up, honestly. Yes, of course. This is the best day of my life. One of the, I think, sweetest parts about becoming an author, a career author, and having had, I've always been bookish. I've always been book obsessed. I always had my nose in a book growing up, is that I have like extreme childlike wonder for whenever I get an advanced reader's copy from an author that I admire. And I hope that I never ever lose that, because I'm rubbing elbows with people and requesting blurbs from people, or people wanting to blurb my books that I have grown up reading. And now, oh my God, it's just so exciting. But A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, all emotions, nostalgia aside, a very fantastic book. We meet our main character, Sarah, who just brought her aunt back from the dead. And when she did so, she lost all of her magical powers, and she's been trying to get them back. So we sort of flash forward. This is all in the jacket copy. We flash forward, and she's trying to get it back. And with the help of a very grumpy librarian who's sexy, with his little sister. She goes on this huge journey of trying to find her magic, and through that finding herself and redefining and everything. It's so cozy. I think anything that takes place in an inn and features kind of cooler months always fits well with the autumnal season. But I think this book has kind of the aesthetic elements that a lot of people are going towards when you're in autumn, of like, an inn is sort of in tight quarters. It's not like a vast, expansive narrative. It happens kind of in singular spaces. You have libraries, you feature books, you feature magic. It has all of the guideposts, all of the signs of being a fantastic autumnal read, and it is. It also has great representation. The grumpy librarian's sister is autistic, and they do a really good job of representing what that means, both in the world and also in the magical world, in a way that was just, I think, really well handled. And it's just a fantastic read. The gaggle of characters that surround the inn, I think, is where my heart really, really is attracted to in Cinco Mandana's writing, because it's not just the main characters, it's not just the main romance that has all of the energy and the beauty. There are really special and fully thought out and fully realized moments with everybody. And I think that that's another marker of just a good book, good read, but especially in autumn. I think there's the element of found families in cozy fantasies that in months where we're kind of anticipating the holidays and gatherings and the closeness that comes with hunkering down and us sort of mimicking nature in a way of it's going to sleep and we are slowing down, that you want your closeness, you want the people that fill you with the most joy to be around you. And so to have books that emanate that in such a succinct, cozy, very funny, lighthearted way is perfect for the season. Finally, and this is just a cushy romance, no magic, okay? This is just sweet, syrupy, Hallmark style book. It's The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. Everybody in their goddamn dick has read this. Everybody has. If you haven't yet, it's a classic. It's a classic thing. I mean, all the tropes are troping. It's all there. This was a 3-star read for me, but that's good, okay? Can we talk about that for a second? 5-star reads are, this book has changed my life. 4-star reads are, I'll read everything in this. This just hasn't changed my life. 3-star reads are like, this book did exactly what it said it was going to. And that is great. I don't have necessarily negative things to say about it. It's a 3-star read. Did it change my life? No. Would I read like a sequel to this? No. Did it give me exactly what I was looking for? Yeah, just like it said that it would, like Hallmark does. I don't know if there's a great reread value in it, but I could see myself doing it. It's a cute little book. It's obviously The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. It's autumnal. Laurie Gilmore is sort of the queen of seasonal-based / holiday-based romances. I think The Gingerbread Cafe just came out. We have Strawberry Patch Pancake House, of course. That is a summertime read. That's a book I've been reading for a while. And The Pumpkin Spice Cafe is a great book to read yourself to sleep with. Laurie Gilmore, in general, I've read some of her, quite a few of the Dream Harbor series. And they're just good read yourself to sleep books because they're not high octane. They're very precious. It's like falling asleep with Gilmore Girls on, but even less stakes. And so if you're a reader, and sometimes I need a break from kind of the intense autumnal reads, if you're a reader where the horror adjacent, or you don't really necessarily want to read anything that features violence or what have you, I think A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, and especially Pumpkin Spice Cafe, are for the most part overtly low trigger, low stakes reads for all of us out there. So those are my top 5 autumnal reads. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. Now, I am currently reading some stuff when we'll get into right now, the news that doesn't matter, i.e. everything to do with me, what I'm reading, writing, and listening to. What I am reading right now, I am reading One Yellow Eye by Leigh Radford, and this follows the story of what happens after a zombie apocalypse. All of the zombies are dead, except for, ding, 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 our main character, Kesta, is harboring her husband. They're racing to find a cure. She really wants, obviously, to cure her husband. Again, the big risk is that he could start a new zombie outbreak. You know what I'm saying? And it's a very quiet story, and I've really enjoyed it so far. I think that possibly this could make it into an honorable mentions of autumnal reads. It is not, unless something happens at the end of it, at the end of the book, it's not going to kick Slewfoot, Thistlefoot, or Wayward out of the way. And no, it's not just feet-based. It's not just feet-based books that I like, okay? I'm not a little freak like that. So it's not going to kick those out of the spot that they're in, of this sort of horror-adjacent, witchy situation. But it's very fun. So if you're looking for a more zombie-based thing, I would recommend it so far. I hesitate to say recommend because I hate when people recommend books that they've not finished yet. I'm a little more than halfway through though, and it's good. It's good. It's zombies, it's London. It is very medicinal, and we're talking a lot about diseases, and we did just come out of a pandemic, not, nigh a few years ago. So take that how you will. If you don't want to read anything about a plague, maybe this one isn't for you, but, whatever. What I'm writing, 50,000 words into my two Shakespeare professors vying for the same tenure track position, I am having so much fun. So I got to the 50,000 word mark, and I said, okay, now's the time, because I've told you all before, and I will say it again. I try not to do too many developmental edits as I go, because I have screwed myself in the ass enough times to know that if I go back and I re-edit 30,000 words and I just have 30,000 words down on the page and I write the next 30,000, my re-edits will have been all for naught. I did waste time. Now, it's not always wasting time, but for the most part, I know I have. And so I have waited to get to the part where I am more than halfway through the book, because I'm really shooting for an 85,000 page romance novel. I'm trying to not go to 90. I'd like to keep it lower because I like the quippiness of romance novels, and this one is dual POV as well. So I think the back and forth will be nice as the plot progresses, but we're in an academic setting. And so I just don't want us to linger unnecessarily on a bunch of stuff. And I, again, have a tendency to overwrite the things that aren't important and underwrite the things that are. So I'm just trying to be aware of that. And I got to the 50,000 word mark and I said, okay, I know what the next 30 to 35,000 words need to be. It's going to take me probably 2 more weeks to finish out those last 30. So I'm taking this week to edit through and rethread things that I've been noting down in my notebook of like, hey, here are things to track and here are things to notice. And I've written enough now. Where I know exactly what needs to change and what to still leave open. Now, I could report back to you guys in 2 weeks after I write these 30,000 and be like, well, fuck me real hard, because I actually found something in the last 30,000, because I don't do really prescriptive outlines. And if I do, I always change them. And I could come back and then say, you know what, I should have just waited till the end. But I actually don't think I do, because now I have hope. And maybe it's just the season. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm just waiting for my lover to come unbutton my wooden coat thrifted situation. I don't know. But I'm editing through that this week, and hopefully I'll get that done in the next 2 weeks, because I'm going to have copy edits for book 1 coming in for my Cozy Fantasy. I have to submit outlines for my book 2. And oh my gosh, things are just moving. I'm always writing these days. I am feeling increasingly, I always want to sequester myself away from social media. And I know that's so antithetical, because my career is increasingly becoming social media based, and that is how I got my literary agent and how I am able to market my book right now. But I would just rather be writing. I don't want to do all the I don't want to do this. I want to do the podcast, and I want to write, and I'm not complaining. It's just sometimes I like to abscond. Sometimes I just want to go, and then no one's going to miss me. But sometimes if I take a few days off of social media, I wake up and there's like 150 direct messages asking me where I'm at. And I'm like, of course you're asking me. I've staked myself as somebody who gives you content and you have a parasocial relationship with. So it's like your friend disappearing. And it's just an interesting dichotomy I constantly have to work with. The podcast, though, is really fun. Now, on the writing stuff, is that I get questions every day about writing routines. How do you crack into it? Blah, 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 blah. But one that I get a lot that doesn't necessarily annoy me, not that those annoy me, it's just that Google exists. I can't tell you exactly how the publishing industry works, but I think probably it's a good idea for you to do research yourself. I did, and that's not me patting myself on the back. That means that there are ample resources out there that a divorced mom who worked 3 jobs can find them and dedicate time to them. So that means you can too. The question that really doesn't ever get my gad is, how do you find community? How do you find a writing-based community? And that can be really hard. I've been really lucky. I co-founded a writers club last year with one of my dear friends, and we have gotten to beta read and give critiques and give developmental edits and work with people who are writing everything from children's literature and plays to full-on playwrights to people writing memoirs and cozy fantasies and dystopian literature. And it's been great to have a writing community, and it is so inspiring because I think something a lot of times that helps writer's block is just talking about writing. It's just giving you that spark to get down and put some words on the page that didn't exist before. And so as of last night, I just started the writing club on my Patreon, and I'm hoping to grow that. I'm going to give it a few weeks to see how many people there are who join it. And so I'll kind of put out a beta reading form and match up beta readers and do some weekly lives where I'm just sitting down and writing, because I get how solitary writing is. I really do. Sometimes, as an autistic Virgo who I have a keen obsession with just figuring it out by myself, I will honestly get frustrated when some of it I get, but people from high school being like, all right, give me the special sauce. I want to do what you did. I want to get a 6-figure deal with a top 5 publisher. What's my first step? Hun, you have to write the book. There's no special sauce. You have to write the book and then maybe Google what the steps are. Okay? You do have to try. I can't give you a shortcut. I can't circumvent your time. But I think it is important, to talk about it, and especially the writing communities, because not everybody's in a space where they can find one easy. So I've started one, and I'm really excited about that. And I hope that it goes well. I'm kind of nervous about it right now because I'm like, oh God, what if I let people down? Which maybe that's my feeling of needing to abscond from social media and I don't often feel that because I don't necessarily like to self-wallow, or if I do, I just don't ever talk about it. Like I do, we all cry in the shower, okay? Sometimes I wake up and I make my really sad bowl of oats and I think to myself, wow, I'm pointless, I'm bad at everything. And then I get over it and I make a few jokes and we get on with our day. But when I'm so forward facing and I start something, I'm like, oh God, I just want this. I hope this is helpful. I hope this is enough of a resource. I hope that people join it and it's not just like, hey guys, it's just me in here in the writing club. But I think it'll be fine. And I hope that it ends up growing into something where we can be there for each other and, spark each other just in the sense that we're talking about it and we're not all alone. So anyway, that's on reading and writing. You know what's so funny is that I started this podcast today and I was like, I don't know if I'm even going to make it into 20 minutes. What am I even going to talk about? We're 43 minutes in, baby. I'm not even taking a breath of air, okay? My mouth is starting to get dry. I need to bring some tea with me if I liked tea. Okay, what I'm listening to, I just finished up that audiobook of Wayward, and I have I've become Orbit, clean teeth. Sparkling white with Orbit. I have begun Hemlock and Silver by T. Kingfisher. It's fantastic so far. Again, this is an audiobook form. It's included in Spotify Premium for all you Spotify Premium members out there. # not sponsored. Never will they ever. Unless maybe they want a smutty content creator. I don't know. Anyway, I've been listening to that, and I just started this morning. I'm a few chapters in because I'd be scrubbing it up real fast. All right, we're listening to 1.5 to 2.0 speed. Okay, it's great. I love teen. Oh my, I need to end the episode because my words no come out good at all. In the publisher marketplace announcement, which I didn't know what it was going to say until, my agent sent it to me, the book got comped to fans of The Spell Shop and T. Kingfisher. I about lost my mind. My little brain spaghettied out of my ear. I love Teen King. I can't say it. Never mind. Guys, never mind. Never mind. I'm not even going to celebrate myself anymore. I was happy about it, but now I'm not. I was in a good mood, but now I'm not. I've immediately, you know what? Hell. Okay, finally though, house updates, whimsy house updates. I've not given you a house update and I don't know. I don't remember. Hell if I remember what I've done. Okay, so my kiddo and I are working on tearing out the back garden because I have an insane yard. It's like 3 levels. It's huge. I do all the yard work by myself. It takes me 2.5 hours. Everybody's like, why don't you pay someone? Girl, I'm not made out of money. Okay? I'm not made out of money. All right? I'm still waiting for my next advance check to come in. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the life of publishing. And I'm bottom shelving the Aldi's right now. And that's okay. I'm not going to pay somebody to do my yard. For sure not. But the issue is that I have a back patio, okay, with a fire pit and so many different garden beds. Well, the people who, the contracting company who did some initial renovations to my 1940s farmhouse put grass seed everywhere. And so I come home from Croatia and there is just the fire pit in the paved area has become unrecognizable because they sprinkled grass seed everywhere. And it was so overgrown, but it was so hot outside and there was just no use because I didn't have enough time to do it. I just didn't have enough time over the summer. And my kiddo and I got out there and we tore all of it up. He did such a good job. I was so proud of him. He did an entire garden bed by himself and he did really well. I was teaching him the difference between just because you cut it down and you can't see it anymore doesn't mean the root systems aren't there. So teaching him how to pull roots and stuff. And he was such great company. And we listened to Sierra Farrell and Tyler Childers and like autumn jazz. And it was just such a sweet little time. Oh my gosh. It was so fun. Now talk about revisiting my earlier situation of I have a bum unit of a body is that I have to take breaks in between tearing it out because a really specific weed grows in that area and I'm highly allergic to it. And so the day after I do any of the tearing that stuff specifically out, I'm a little bit sick. God, the way I would get burned at the stake or died in the winter. Oh my God, I can't have been born in any era but now. I really couldn't. I would be so dead. Oh my God, the way I wouldn't have made it through childhood. Or I would have just had the world's most pathetic death out in the wheat field. Because they'd be like, dearest sister Summer is out in the wheat field acting awry. And they would either go, witch, burner, or my celiac rash would have eaten my body. But out there, it's some type of ragweed that I had like extensive allergy tests on when I was a kid, and I'm just allergic to grass, and I just don't, share it with the world like I am now because it's embarrassing. Anyhow, I've been tearing that up and I'm getting sick in between every single one. And then I finally finished my upstairs bathroom, which the shower curtain is hung up in such a way because they redid the attic and it's at such a slope you can't put a rod up at all. So I've got like planter hooks at weird places to hold the shower curtain up. And there's just something about, I just love it now. I've painted it yellow and white, duh. More specifically, buttercup yellow and alabaster cream. Hello. Thank you, Sherwin-Williams. Again, not sponsored. That room is done. And now all I have is my giant back bathroom, which is too big. I don't like how big it is. and then my laundry room. And those are right now like a mint green color, which is what the rest of the house used to be painted in. So those are my final frontiers as of now, along with the garden. And then eventually I want to do an actual renovation and like knock down some walls. But I'm too scared to do that right now. So I'm not going to do that right now. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for today on a podcast that I thought was only going to be 20 minutes, but is actually way longer. So I hope you are having as equally of a lovely fall. If you're in a place where your fall hasn't come yet, sorry about it. Sorry about it, okay? This is East Coast supremacy right now. Supremacy. Great. My talking is going out. So anyhow, stay cozy, stay bookish. Bye.